Good morning, class. It's an honor to once again come before you. And this time around, we are going to have an introductory lesson on MS Word 2016. I'm going to make this video very short, and the purpose is just for us to look at the outline of the course manual, and then I'll guide you on what to expect when you delve or begin to look into the course outline. So quickly, I will share some pages with you so that you can have a look at what I'm talking about. Come along with me. Right. So for the 2016 MS Word 2016, what I would want us to remember is that whenever we open the application, we are likely to be greeted with the interface that we are seeing right now. Now, when we look closely, we can see at the top here, where we refer to as the title bar, we see the document title over there. Usually, the title bar contains or displays the name of the document we have created. By default, it will always be document 1. And then it also shows or displays the name of the application we are using. And since we are using MS Word, it will be Word. Now, so until we change the name of our document, the title bar will display the name of the document or the document title as document 1. Then, when we move to the left-hand side, we are likely to be greeted with the Quick Access Toolbar. The Quick Access Toolbar is also on the title bar, but it is located on the left-hand side of the title bar. It actually displays some commands, and we'll be talking about them pretty soon. Then we come down directly beneath the Quick Access Toolbar, and we are greeted with the ribbon. The ribbon. I'll be talking about the ribbon as well, but so that we will remember what we looked at in our previous lesson. The ribbon is this section as is being pointed to. Then we have the document page. The document page is the working area, the area where our documents that we have created, the items that we want to type are going to be placed at. When you look at the right-hand side, you are likely to see the Microsoft account sign-in. Here, at this location, we are able to sign in with our Microsoft account. And so that any document we create, we are able to determine the author of that document. Then this arrow here, when we click on it, it is actually called the collapse ribbon button. When we click on this button, it reduces or collapses the ribbon. This is usually done or employed whenever we want to reduce the size of, whenever we want to reduce the size of the ribbon in order to increase the size of the page we are working on or the working area. Then we are likely to see here the insertion point. My pointer is showing the insertion point here. Usually, this is not usually, always, it will be that short line that is blinking, that short line that is blinking. You will remember we spoke about the difference between the cursor and indeed the pointer. What I am moving around now with the arrowhead is my pointer. However, the cursor shows us the insertion point. And it is this short line, vertical, which blinks. And as it is blinking, it helps us to determine the insertion point. And the insertion point is simply where characters that we type will begin to appear in our document. Characters that we type will begin to appear in our document. At the lower portion of the window, Office Word window, we see the status bar at the left-hand side, where we are able to, at a glance, see the number of pages in this document and also the number of words that we have created or number of words that we have been able to type. Then on the right-hand side, we also can see the zoom slider, the zoom slider. Here we're able to zoom in or out in order to make our document look bigger on the screen of our monitor or look smaller as we may desire. There are a few other buttons here that have not been mentioned, but these three by default are different views or different ways in which we will view our document when we select either of these buttons. We will look into that as well as we move along. Indeed, we are familiar with how to open the MS Word. We know that to open the MS Word in Windows 10 specifically, we just need to click on the Start button, which is usually at the lower left-hand side of the screen. You click on it, and then it will display a menu from which we may choose the application we want, either by using the mouse or by touching the screen of our monitor if our screen is responsive to touch. We'll look at that as well pretty soon. So there's some material here that I have already shared, which when you read, you'll be able to get the step-by-step description of how to open the application. As I said earlier on, what we see, the vertical blinking line, is the insertion point. It's usually will begin at the upper left-hand side corner of the document, where we begin creating text, where we begin typing our characters onto the document. So when we place the cursor near it, the insertion point changes into a large eye, which is called the I-beam. We should take note that the explanations I'm giving are based on the assumption that you are using Windows 10. So when you have the Windows 10, you realize that when you click on the lower portion over here, the Windows logo, then this menu pops up. When it pops up, if you have used Word before, then you are likely to see it in the recently added or recently used column of the menu that pops up. Else, you may have to click on all apps in order to navigate and then get to the MS Word. Now, when you click on it, you next be greeted with the MS Word 2016 screen. Now, this screen appears and you are able to either select, create the document of your choice. We have some templates to guide us if we want to create a document that looks like, or that if we want to have assistance in creating the document of our choice, we may use the template that is already a part of the application. However, if we want to create a blank new document, we just have to click on blank document. MS Word gives us, or allows us to have access to some tools. So some of these tools we'll look at even as we go over the application. The screen shows us tools that enable us to create and edit our documents quickly and effectively. So here we are going to look at how to locate and use the ribbon and the quick access toolbar to access various commands. When I say a command, indeed we know that this is an instruction based on an action that we expect to perform simply by clicking on a button or by entering information into a command box. To use the ribbon, we'll say that the ribbon contains multiple commands, each of them on a separate tab. Microsoft has assigned each of its Office applications with a color. Word is symbolized with the color blue, and the active tab text is blue. In other words, each tab contains several groups or collections of related word commands. For example, when we look at the Home tab, it groups some commands that are labeled clipboard, font, paragraph, styles, and editing. So each group command contains one or more command icons. Some of these have a drop-down menu or a list of options associated with them. So as we click on them, the arrow that is attached, when we click on the arrow, it displays the menu. Some groups have a dialog box launcher, a small arrow at the lower right corner of the group. And when we click on it, it launches a dialog box, which displays additional options or information that we can use. We will be having some practical exercises in which we'll learn how to use the ribbon. So here, we have the tab, the selected tab here, as can be seen by the outline here, is the Home tab. So once you click on the Home tab, we see related commands on the ribbon showing or being displayed for us. Here, we have a command group. So we have the font command group, we have the paragraph command group, we have the styles command group. Excuse me. Then we have the dialog box launcher, which is this small arrow in the corner here. There's another one here. This is what I said, that when you click on, it will display a dialog box for us. Then over here, should we need more space to work on our screen, we can collapse the ribbon. There are some activities, practical activities, that when you start reading the book, I would expect you to go through step by step. This is an example of the font dialog box, where we are able to determine how our fonts will look like in terms of the font type, the style we want, and then the size we want. These are some of the commands that we may have to look at and explore. Then going forward, we have the font menu, which is helping us to display the list of available fonts, or the font types. Then we have here, still in the font menu, the font size that we may want to use. Now, when the font dialog box appears, or the font menu appears, we are able to scroll through the list of available fonts or font types using this vertical scroll bar. Please take note. Then, as I mentioned earlier on, we have the quick access toolbar, which is located just above the ribbon, and it contains commands that you as a user, you access frequently. In other words, the commands that you use frequently as a user of MS Word are usually displayed on the quick access toolbar. By default, if you have not yet started using MS Word and you just opened it, you are likely to see the save button, the undo button, and the repeat commands being displayed for you in the quick access toolbar. When we click on the save button, the quick access toolbar, when we click on the save button in the quick access toolbar for the first time, a save as screen is displayed. You know, for a new document that is created, we are able to save as in order to determine where we want to save, the location we want to save our document on the computer by default, which is in my documents folder. We are able to also determine the name that we want to give to our document. However, when we click on the save button in the quick access toolbar for the first time and the save as screen appears, we should note that it can also appear as a command listed at the backstage view. The backstage view is accessed whenever we click on the File tab. Then we have the undo button or the undo command, which helps us to cancel or undo the last command that we have just taken. We can click on the undo command as many times as is necessary so that it will continue to undo previously executed commands. Also, when we click on the arrow beside the undo command, a history of actions that we have taken appears. So by clicking in the repeat command, the command repeats your last action. Please take note. I have provided additional information on how to use the quick access toolbar. We would have to go through and select items that we may want to display if need be in the quick access toolbar. At this point, I will take a break, and then when we meet again, we will look at how to create our first document. However, I would be grateful if you would read the materials that I have shared with you ahead so that our interaction during the face-to-face section will just be a discussion and not a lecture session. And on that note, I say thank you for listening in. I remain your humble servant, Dr. Prince Eden Chakwas.